Caroline Dowd-Higgins. Thank you for listening to Your Working Life, my podcast series featuring thought leaders in the career and personal growth arena. You spend a significant portion of your life at work, so my goal is to provide you with tools, inspiration, and resources so you can enjoy your career and love your life. And I am delighted to welcome my very special guest to the show, Lena. Netta, welcome.
Thank you so much. It's such an honor to be here, Caroline.
Oh, I'm excited, my dear. We are kindred spirits in many ways. And I want to tell our listeners all about you. Lena is a woman of multiple hats that believes in diversity and continuous growth. She's the founder of Rise Up For You while maintaining the role of senior producer for a nonprofit organization called the Young Americans. Amongst many cool things, she's a performance coach, a podcaster, and a women's coach in confidence and mindset. She's got over 10 years of coaching and mentoring, and Netta has been honored to work with over 50,000 young women, adults, and young people worldwide. So Netta, let's get right to it, my dear. What is Rise Up For You?
Thank you so much, Caroline. So Rise Up For You is a network dedicated to empowering women to lead their best life in all areas. So that's relationships, investing, self-worth, which is the most important component, entrepreneurship, love, and health. And they're all intermingled. So as you know, Caroline, if one of those is not working or if you're feeling down in one element, then it's a trickle effect. You're feeling down in all areas.
I couldn't agree more. We've got to be balanced. And I tend to shy away from the balance word and work-life balance. But in this scenario, life balance, absolutely.
Absolutely.
So what's the why behind the creation of Rise Up For You? Did you see a need out there?
Oh, wow. Okay, let me tell you. I'll try to condense the version. So there was actually a number of reasons and, particular events in my life that created Rise Up For You. Okay. So from the beginning, I was a performer. That's the first thing that I dived into. And I was performing around the world as a singer and a dancer. And I was noticing a lot of the women who I was performing with, my cast members and singers and dancers, who weren't confident. And they were suffering with eating disorders. They were missing out on opportunities, to stand center stage and really command their space. They were they were sabotaging themselves constantly. And so this was always something that I really observed and took into account when I was working with other women that were part of my cast. A couple years later, I became an executive, and I was one of the top executives of an education corporation here in Southern California, and I saw the same thing happening amongst older women.
Wow.
And they were sabotaging themselves. They wouldn't take opportunities due to fear. And I remember a few times, approaching some women that were incredibly gifted and talented in the workforce, saying, I really want you to go for this promotion. I really think that you can be doing this. And I always got the same response that I'm not ready, or I don't know if I can. And it was just so difficult to hear them have that kind of verbiage and to think those things about themselves, because I knew as an outsider that they can make this happen.
Good for you. Yeah, keep going.
Yeah, so those were the two things that I started to observe and I really felt really passionate about. So as an executive, I did everything I can to, work with the women that were around me in that environment. So then something happened that really just stamped it for me, okay? And this is more of a personal journey that I haven't really talked much about. Okay. And that's the fact that I got married. And so I was a top executive. I was making incredible money. I had a beautiful home on the lake, a luxury car, all those things that we think are so important. And I got married to a man and moved out of the country because he wasn't an American citizen. And I left everything behind. I left my family, my career, friends, everything. And within 2 weeks, Caroline, 2 weeks now, on the first day of our honeymoon, my husband looked at me and said he wanted a divorce and he didn't value me and he didn't know why he married me.
2 weeks. Oh my goodness.
2 weeks. So naturally I was distraught. Yeah. I was shocked. I didn't know what to do because I literally gave up everything.
Yeah.
So I got back on a plane and I was bawling my eyes out. naturally, right? And like any
Of course.
woman would, because we're in shock and we don't know what just happened.
Right.
And the stewardess was watching me, and the flight attendant, other attendees were there, and they were just staring at me. And I remember thinking, wow, like I am in a fight or flight situation. I have two choices in my life right now. I'm going to rise up and build a life of happiness, positivity, and empowerment, and use my pain as fuel for growth, or I'm going to let this bring me down. And I've always been very confident and very excited about life. And that was my moment there. I remember thinking that no one is going to knock on my door and fix this for me. I have to rise up for me and do it. Hence, rise up for you. And so those experiences together, the first two as a performer and executive, really implanted it in me. But then getting married and then being asked for divorce 2 weeks later stamped it for me. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to go back as an executive, and this is my opportunity to build what I'm passionate about. So I took those things that I knew worked for me, which were confidence, mindset, my skills as a performer, my skills as an executive, and I combined it with my passion, which was educating, empowering, and enjoying.
That's awesome. And Netta, thank you for your candor. Thank you for sharing your journey, because so many women will relate, in their own unique scenario. And we've all been in that dark place, where we've bottomed out. And I'm just so grateful that a woman like you of tremendous confidence was willing to go there. So thank you. That means the world to me and the listeners. So you certainly have moxie and confidence and this inner energy, this inner light that you have tapped, but so many women are struggling with that. So what is your wisdom for them and your work with Rise Up For You to help them find that inner confidence? Because you do so much coaching. How do you get them to find it?
Well, there's a couple ways. And well, the first thing is that, and me and you had this conversation before, that
Yeah.
confidence has been mistakenly coined as being cocky.
Yep.
Okay. So I hear a lot of women say constantly, well, I don't want to be cocky, or I don't want to be stuck up. And they created kind of this negative perspective around what it means to be confident. And I think it's really vital and important that we change the verbiage and the thoughts towards confidence and what that means. Being confident is feeling good about who you are, embracing and not undermining what you have achieved and gone through in life, as well as resonating a positive and open energy with the people that are around you. Cocky or being stuck up is when it's all about you, right? There's a sense of superiority that's kind of given out. And there's an invisible barrier that's put in front of you that others can't get past. So I really encourage women to kind of take another look at confidence and rework what that means to them, because like I said, as a society, we've kind of mistakenly coined it. Innately, women want to help others. And I know you resonate with this, and your listeners and everybody that's listening, I know you do probably as well. We care about others a lot. We want to protect other people. And when we do that, we tend to put ourselves on the back burner for many things. And over time, this can take a toll on us, and we forget to love ourselves. It's not that we don't want to, we forget. We forget how to trust ourselves, and we forget what it means to take care of us because we're so used to doing it for everybody else. And when that happens, these other elements such as self-doubt, self-hate, and stagnation, they begin to sink into our life. There's a statistic that just came out a couple months ago that said men tend to be more aggressive where they will only know 20% of the information. Right. They are 100% confident. And women that know 90% of the information are only 20% confident. Right? I mean, that's just a crazy statistic.
We see it every day, right?
Absolutely. So first and foremost, we need to give ourselves permission to take risk and to love ourselves constantly. Self-love is not selfish. Self-love is a necessity for our happiness. So I've created this program called Perform Your Way to Unstoppable Confidence. And what I've done is I've taken something that I love and that I'm passionate about, and that's performing when I used to perform. And I figured out, how did I become, because I was a lead singer for many, many tours. Yeah. How did I get to that place as a lead singer and as a performer, comfortable with what I was doing? And I found that there were a lot of similarities when it came to performing and then life, love, and work. So here are a few things that I think will really help build confidence in not only work, but really life in general.
Great.
So the first thing is, and this is going to sound funny to some, but it works and it's so incredible, is create an alter ego that you admire.
I love
So
that. I love that.
yeah, so for example, I love Celine Dion.
Yeah.
She is an incredible performer. When she walks on stage, she exudes passion. She exudes clarity. She exudes strength. And I loved watching her. So I began to create this alter ego that kind of mimicked Celine Dion. Now, I didn't become Celine Dion, but I took those characteristics that I admired from her and I put that in my alter ego. And sure enough, after doing that, I began to take on those characteristics, and now they became me. And before you know it, you're walking around taller, broader, and you have an
Yeah.
energy to you, and people will notice that.
Absolutely. You channeled your inner Celine. I love it.
That's right. Or your diva.
Yeah.
Beyonce has the same thing. She has her alter ego, which is Sasha Fierce.
Right.
And when she's out there, performing and doing her thing, she's a little bit different, but that's her confidence that she's gaining. So creating an alter ego it's really is remarkable. So I challenge everyone to do that. Find the person that you admire that when you look at, you're like, wow, I love those characteristics about you, and create your alter ego that's going to make that happen for yourself.
Nice. Nice.
So, and the second thing is that, performers have an audience. Well, there's no difference in life. You always have an audience, whether or not you know it. So whether there's a cashier at the market or the CEO, you are not invisible. So anywhere you go, you always have an audience. There's people that are watching you. So it's really important to know who your audience is so that you can make them comfortable, not them make you comfortable, right? So when I used to perform and I used to walk out on stage, I was not intimidated by the audience because I figured out who they were before I got out there so that I knew how to prepare. So what you're saying is, I am going to dictate how you feel about me by creating a sense of comfort.
I like it. I like it. See, these are all good visual strategies, and we can actually make these happen. Love it.
Thank you so much. And one of the last ones is the performer has a message that they are spreading or getting to the audience, right? Well, we're no different as people. We also have a message that we're sending out that some of us don't even realize. And we're doing it with our body, we're doing it with our language, and we're doing it with the decisions that we make. So if I want to send out a message of love, then we need to exude love in what we do, right? If I want to send out, if I want to get a promotion at the job, my job, for example, we need to exude qualities that are going to help us get that promotion. So a passion, an excitement, an understanding for the job, a drive, a strength that lets our boss know that we have what it takes. So a lot of building confidence is exuding the message and the qualities that we want people to see about us. Nobody wants people to look at us and think, oh, they don't have value. They stare at the floor. They walk into the room with their head down. You want to walk into a room and people look at you and say, wow, she has a beautiful, positive energy around you. Or wow, she's a go-getter. Or there's something about her that's really exciting. So you have to figure out as a woman or a man, what's the message that you want to portray when you walk into a room? What's the message that you want to portray when you're walking down the street? And you now need to start creating that for yourself, for other people to see.
Netta, you are so inspirational. How do you help people find that message? Or would you be willing to share what's the message that you put out into the world?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking that. So the message that I put out into the world, honestly, is confidence, but it's also an understanding that nobody is perfect. And I think that a lot of times that's where a lot of women and men lose their confidence, is they have these expectations that they think that they need to meet. And part of being confident is accepting your flaws too.
Yeah.
And saying, oh, I had a bad moment there. I'll do better next time.
Right.
Or, you know what? Just the other day, and this was literally just the other day, I had a moment where I let something get the best of me, and it lasted for like 10 minutes. And then after I was done, I was like, darn, you know what? I learned from that, and I'll be better next time, and I'll try to handle it differently next time. I didn't sit and beat myself up over it and lose confidence and lose, my love for myself. I just acknowledged the fact that I made a mistake, and that is okay, because it's ridiculous to think that you are perfect and every choice that you make is going to be spot on. That's just not sustainable. But it's okay, and the best thing is to say, bummer, I made a little mistake, and that's okay. I'm going to learn from it, and now I'm going to keep going.
I'm going to move on. Well done. Let it go, right? As they say. So, Netta, you have some awesome accomplishments to date, but a really fun one that I saw in your bio is that you climbed Mount Fuji in a typhoon. Oh my gosh. One, tell me about that. But two, how important is goal setting in your life and for all of us?
Oh, wow. Okay, well, let's start with the goal setting, because my goal was to climb Mount Fuji.
Probably not in a typhoon, but it sounds like that happened anyway.
Exactly. And so, I went to Japan quite a few times, and I was just really excited about Mount Fuji. And I said in my head, you know what? I want to climb it. And the altitude is quite high there,
Yeah.
and so the majority of people only get to level 5 of the mountain. And then the altitude starts to get to them, and they become sick, and so they have to come back down the mountain. So I set a goal to myself that I'm going to reach the top of that mountain, and I'm going to watch the sun rise in Japan, because that's the whole point of getting to the top, and then I'm going to come back down that mountain. And that was a goal that I set that was really, really important, because it gave me something to reach for. And there was a reason why I wanted to do that, because I wanted to push myself. So not only did I want to reach a goal, but I had my why as to why I wanted to get to that goal, which is important. Like, you have to have your why for accomplishing your goals. Otherwise, you kind of lose steam if there's no real purpose behind it, right?
I love it. Yeah.
So I just decided to climb the mountain, and I'll have to tell you, I was very ignorant, because I didn't prepare myself for this. It just in my head, I was like, I'm going to climb the mountain. And I had, so many fellow Japanese friends that were telling me, you need to prepare. You need a jacket. You need a backpack. You need all of these things. And I'm like, oh, I think I'll be fine. So I started to climb the mountain, and I was literally just wearing like sweatpants and a tank top, and I had a backpack that just had chocolate in it.
Wow. No
That was
water?
it. No water, nothing, just chocolate. I was younger, of course.
The power of chocolate, my dear. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
exactly. And so I started to climb, and it was amazing. It was such a beautiful experience. It was a beautiful day. And we got up to the 9th level, which that's where you rest. And so it's a 2-day hike. That's where you rest. And when I say rest, I don't mean like beautiful, luxurious hotel, on Mount Fuji. It's like some bamboo mats, right? That are up on the top of the mountain. And when I woke up the following morning to finish the climb, the weather was a complete 360. It was pouring rain. It was windy, and nobody was leaving the site.
Wow.
So, and I didn't realize, because my Japanese wasn't that great at the time, so I didn't know that there was a typhoon going on. I just figured that people wanted to sleep in. I wasn't sure exactly what was happening. So it was me and like 3 Canadians, of course, that started to climb this mountain, and it was so bad. I mean, my brother went with me, and we almost got thrown off the mountain.
Wow.
And I remember my brother, actually, this is funny, he laid down on the mountain, and he was like, just leave me here, like, I'm gonna die. And of course, I had some choice words with him, and I was like, get up!
We're going.
Yeah, exactly. And so we finally made it to the top, and we were like banging on this guy's door. There was a little hut up at the very, very top, and he wouldn't let us in, and he was screaming, typhoon! Typhoon! And me and my brother looked at each other, and we were like, oh, that's what that was. But it was actually very empowering once we completely finished, because I remember looking at my brother once we got down, and we were soaking wet, because like I said, like we didn't prepare properly.
Right.
Yeah, I took a trash bag, and me and my brother ripped up the trash bag, and we like put it over us. And once we got down, I looked at my brother, and I was like, wow, holy moly, not only did we climb Mount Fuji, but we got up and down in a typhoon.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
That is a story that will live on for a long time. You are
Absolutely.
a determined woman.
Absolutely.
So, Netta, you've got some really cool things coming up with Rise Up For You. You mentioned that you're planning a conference. Let us in on what's coming down the road and how we can connect with you and Rise Up For You.
Thank you so much. As you know, Caroline, I completely believe in constant development. So there's a ton of ideas and things that are happening every day. I'd be honored if you would stop by the website, riseupforyou.com. There's information that goes out every single day, as mentioned earlier. And, you know, we have our conference coming up in November in Southern California. So if there's anybody that's on the West Coast at that time, please check it out. There's going to be some incredible women that are speaking, some breakout discussions. There's going to be a ton of performance and just beautiful opportunities for women to collaborate and to share. And like I said, there's constant information on the website, www.riseupforyou.com. And one other thing that I would love to offer that I've actually never done on a show before, but if I've said something that resonates with you, or if you have a feeling that you're feeling a little bit stuck, I would love to offer a free strategy session to any of your listeners, Caroline.
Wow.
I'll jump on a call absolutely free and help get you, you know, feeling great and feeling confident if that's something that resonates with you. And you can actually email me directly at nln@riseupforyou.com.
Netta, you're such a generous person. Thank you for all the extraordinary work you do empowering women. I am so impressed. I'm motivated and inspired. I don't know that I'm going to climb Mount Fuji in a typhoon, but you have definitely motivated me, and I'm grateful for our time together today.
Thank you, Caroline. I just want to tell you thank you because it's incredible the work that you're doing. And I want to just say one last thing to all the women that don't ever feel like you can't do something because others are doing it. Like there's plenty to go around.
I
And
agree.
it's so incredible to meet other women like you, Caroline, that are empowering women and that are helping women be the best version of themselves. So thank you.
Well, it's an honor to be on the journey with you, my dear. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I want to thank all of the listeners for tuning in to Your Working Life, where my goal is to help you design your career destiny so it doesn't happen by default. Career and life satisfaction is possible, and it's time to embrace what you love doing so you can do more of it. My show is now available on iTunes, YouTube, Podbean, and Stitcher. Hey, leave a comment because I always appreciate hearing from my listeners. I'm Caroline Dowd-Higgins. Take good care.